Well, g'day, Gary. You're in Fiji, mate.
Yeah, finally made it 3 days ago.
That's cool. We'll talk about your epic approach shortly. But anyway, how do you feel? Where you're at?
Yeah, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm still a bit sore and but a bit achy, muscles and all that from getting tossed around for quite a few days. But no, feeling good, feeling fit, feeling happy. My wife's here now, so that's even better. So it's all good. Yep,
that's good. I just remind everyone that we did this in Panama before we left, eh? We had a bit of a chat, so that'll go through your background. So if anyone wants to know that, we're going to just talk about the journey so far from Panama.
Yep.
And I don't think we've done a boat tour of your boat yet.
No.
So we'll have to do that maybe when you come back or something. And just to show you, because it's a beautiful boat, built like a bit of furniture, because you're a boat builder and so on. Do you like your boat?
Yeah, I do. I love the boat. It'd be nice if it was a bit bigger, but anyway, I love the little boat, and I'm intending to hang on to it. Yeah, no, she's great.
Yeah. So, try and describe how the relationship's evolved. It must have been a weird thing, because you're really stressed getting it together and putting all the pieces together, going sailing in Antigua.
Yeah.
So obviously you like it because you built it, but how did the relationship sort of evolve?
Oh, it took me 3 years to do, off and on, mostly off and on when I had time to do it in between work and weekends and evenings and whatnot. And the last few months was full time basically. And as it got closer and closer to putting it in the container, I thought, I'm going to get this finished and put it in the container. I thought, the boat's finished. And then we put it out in Antigua, and I thought, we've got a fair bit to do on the boat still. So luckily I have my two good mates, Stork and Westy. And we spent about 3 weeks, I think, putting the boat together and getting it in the water. But it's just something I've been building and repairing and restoring boats for people all my life, and never one for myself. So it was my turn. So that's what I did. Yeah, took the opportunity and did it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so now you've been sailing for like 100 days or something. You've been living on board and all that sort of stuff. So what's the worst part about the boat besides the size?
Probably the size. Yeah, you're pretty not isolated. Just the room inside. Yeah, actually, you get used to it. At the start, you think, "Geez, it's small in here," but as you spend more time on it, it seems to get bigger inside. You know how to use the boat and all that sort of stuff. And everyone else who gets on board can't believe you can spend so much time in the boat. I'm happy with the boat generally. A bit better upwind performance maybe would be good, because I seem to have done a lot of upwind. But other than that, it's all good.
Yeah, that's cool. So you set off from Panama a day or 12 hours behind the fleet?
About 20 hours behind, I think. Yeah, I set off the next morning at 6:30 a.m. I think, something like that, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and you decided to sort of take the northern route. It was sort of through circumstance more than anything, I suppose.
Well, I was coming down from Panama, and everyone else we're talking a few days in, and everyone else was actually west of the Galapagos, I think, and they were all sitting in very light winds or no wind at all, and I'm getting beautiful breeze all the way down. And then I got to a point and thought, I can turn right and try my luck and see how I go going up this side, or I can follow down to everybody else. So I turned right, and I had a beautiful sail right up the coast. And I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty good. And if I get round the other side, I'll be a few hundred miles in front of everybody, And then I got to the northern end, and the wind just died, and it didn't come back. I've lost track how many days, but it was 8 or 10 days I was floating around going nowhere, basically.
Yeah, I got to say, when we were doing the tracker updates, I was saying, this is a bold move, but it could work out okay. For a while I was the same. I said, it might just work. Yeah. But it just didn't work.
Well, when I hit the no wind, I started drifting north towards Hawaii, and I drifted. There's a couple of little islands about 80 miles north of Galapagos, and I drifted basically right up to those islands. And that was a bit of a weird experience there too, because I kept getting sucked towards this island. And one night I got a bit of breeze, and I took off, and I got about 10 miles past it, and I thought, oh beauty, I'm away from this island. I thought, I'll have a sleep. The wind died, I'll have a sleep. Woke up in the morning, I'm a mile off this island again. I got sucked all the way back, and I'm starting to think there's some voodoo stuff going on, And you start to think weird things when you've been at it. You're going nowhere for so many days. But anyway, I finally got away from it, and that was a relief. But it was a gamble. It didn't pay off because I lost 10 days, basically, I suppose. But anyway.
Yeah, and then finally you caught up with the back end of the fleet in Marquesas. You finally got there.
I got to Marquesas, and after 44 days, I think it was, and Eric was there, Adam was there, and Josh was there.
Yeah.
And then Eric and Adam left like the day after or so, and then I was there for the last 4 days by myself, and then headed off and down to Papeete.
Yeah.
And that was a great sail. I really enjoyed that sail. Yeah.
That's because you had a clean bum.
Well, yeah.
Tell that story.
I'd had no anti-fouling on my boat for God knows how many thousand miles, and it was about it would have been over 5,000 miles, I suppose, from Antigua. And so I put my boat on the hard and give it a good clean. It had barnacles all over the bottom, and anti-fouled it, and it made a hell of a difference. Yeah. Going down to Papeete was really nice. I was doing some good miles and enjoyed. It had wind the whole way. It was great.
Yeah, because you didn't get a whole lot of social interaction in Panama because you were late there and everyone was busy and all that sort of stuff. So you finally got a little bit at the tail end in Marquesas, but that's
well, the plan was to do the anti-foul in Panama, but when I got there was other boats on the hard, and then the trucks were leaving, and the last truck was leaving on Saturday, and anyway. It didn't happen. Anyway,
So
you live and you learn.
So you've been chasing your tail a bit, but anyway, and then the final story, for just mentioned was we gave you permission to bypass Tonga, and we just add that time onto your arrival time here. But you got hammered. I mean, everyone got hammered, and we've been telling people, always said, I just watched this last one, because you got this sort of funny opportunity with bits of weather. So, so what happened?
Well, I think Graham Cox jinxed me actually, because he was telling me how rough it can be between Fiji and Tonga and whatnot and blah blah. But no, it was okay. I left Tahiti, and I had light winds once again for probably 8 days. There wasn't much at all going on. Then the winds picked up, and I had really nice sailing. Probably 15, 20 knots for quite a few days. And then I got to the top of Vavau, went across there. Yeah, and then the winds, and Josh had taken off the day before, so I was, back with Josh again, and I got ground on him this time, which was good. But, and then, the winds picked up and got really, really quite strong, and I was, had a little bit of main out and a little bit of jib out, and the last 4 days I just thought, the winds got really strong, and I thought, I just took everything in and just went under bare poles, and basically didn't leave the cabin for 4 days. Just all I had to do was open the hatch and adjust the hydro vane, rope a little bit, and go back down again. So, and the boat, I was doing over 100 miles a day with no sails up. Had a tiny little bit of jib out, pulled really tight on the centre line. So when the bow run around a bit, the wind would sort of help get it back, sort of thing. But round it up a bit and all that sort of stuff. But it was pretty cool. Yeah, I was surprised actually.
Yeah, pretty good if you got the sea room and you got the direction. I had the similar situation in the first 500, 600 miles I did on Trekker. Yeah. Same deal. I had it for about 18 hours. Yeah. You feel lazy, too much sleep because there's nothing to do. You just go blow with it.
Well, basically when you come down from Vavau, you sort of come down, you go around those islands and you head back up. And the wind was behind me the whole way. It was virtually a straight line almost to Fiji, so it worked out really well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So when what did you decide to build the boat for? When you decided to buy the plans and go for it, what was the agenda?
Oh look, I keep saying I've always talked about doing something like this a lot of my working life, and everyone gets sick of me talking about it. And it just come up on, I don't know, it was Facebook or something, and. Yeah, and I looked interesting, and then I showed my wife.
Was it the boat or the boat and the MGR?
I think it was the whole thing. Yeah, it was the whole package basically. Yeah. And I thought, well, building a boat, get the boat. I'll have a boat at the end of it, and if I get time, I'll try and do the race. So and then I showed my wife Xinghua, and she said, I'll buy the plans, and I did, and all the way along she thought I'd never do it. So. She got a surprise one day when the container turned up and the boat's off to Antigua.
Okay, so you're far enough into it now to sort of have a good understanding of what the MGR means, even though the next leg changes again. Yeah. So is it delivering what you expected? Has it been fun or too much hard work, or how do you feel?
I think sometimes when you're out here, you think, this is too hard, But then, like you said to me the other week, you said you'll get to land and you'll be a week on land, and it'll all be great fun, sort of thing. And it is hard, Sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes you get very frustrated, and other times you you know, you're just loving it, having a great time sailing along. And it's more when there's no wind, I think, is the worst. When there's too much wind, it doesn't really matter because you're going forward. But when there's no wind, that's the worst part for me, really. Yeah.
So you're a sailor. You've been involved with boats all your life, you know, shipwright, all that sort of stuff. But this is a big one to sort of bite into.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I can imagine the roller coaster, like self-doubt, and, you know, fear, and all the rest of it. Can you describe the extremes? You know, what's some of the biggest emotions, either good, bad, or indifferent? You know.
I mean, like I said, the sail down from Marquesas to Haiti was unreal. It was just perfect, you know. I had the hydroplane set up right, everything was going well, the boat was going well, doing good miles, and you're just really happy, you know. And then in the doldrums, you just want to tear your hair out, you know, because, and then you get frustrated really easily because once again in the doldrums, you got nothing to do really. And I dived on the boat and I cleaned the bottom and all that sort of stuff, and you know, you're pulling sails up and pulling sails down, and they're flapping and they're carrying on, and that was for me that was the worst part really. And that was like I said, when there's windy it's fine, you know, even nice 10-15 knots, 20 knots, when it's getting up to 30-40 knots, you know.
True. The Starlink's a big issue for everyone. I think you got yours in Panama as well, didn't you?
I bought Starlink. Well, everyone bought it in Panama, I think.
$200.
Yeah, so Starlink's good, but once again it uses a fair bit of power, I think, you know, and it's nice to be able to talk on the phone, you know. I didn't do video calls. I didn't do too many video calls, just mainly talking on the phone with my wife and friends and whatnot, and you know, you can download movies and all that sort of stuff, and I could get weather, like from Antigua to Panama I had no weather because the Iridium Go wasn't working properly, all this sort of stuff, you know, and that's pretty important, I think, just for your psychology, seeing windy, you know, get a bit of idea of the weather. But definitely it's a game changer for sure. It certainly makes your life a lot easier. But once again, it can take 40 minutes to log on sometimes, you know, and that's when I start abusing Elon Musk, you know, because, you know, not that he can hear me, but, you know, but, so, no, it is a game changer for sure. I think they need to develop something specific for boats though, you know, because all this stuff they got now is basically for people who are going, you know, please put the Starlink flat, you know, on the ground, all this sort of stuff, you know.
Well, that's a I mean, they've got the marine one, but it's $2,500 and it's big and it's 10 amps and all that.
Oh, that's
stuff.
right.
So,
I saw a bloke who was rowing around the world, and I met in Hivao. He's rowing around the world in a little boat. He had the big one, which was he said this one's the proper ocean one sort of thing. But no, it's good. I like the Starlink, and happy with that.
Yeah, so, I mean, physically, you're looking pretty cool. Not that you weren't when you first arrived with your boat. How do you feel, like, physically?
I feel great, I mean, I've lost a hell of a lot of weight. I haven't weighed myself. How much weight do
you reckon you lost?
I reckon minimum 15 kilos, maybe.
15 kilos?
Possibly more. I mean, I was, I'm not tall, but I'm quite stocky, I suppose, and I was 104, 105 kilos when I left Sydney. I reckon now I think I'm under 90, I think, probably. Maybe,
You look good now.
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, there's a bit of floppy skin down here where the fat used to be. But
don't worry, I can beat you on that one.
But, I think, and because I had my knee operations, you know, 18 months ago, it's good for that as well, you know. They've been unreal. It's just, I'm amazed how good those the knees are now. But no, losing the weight. I've been trying to do it for years, you know, and you get off the beer and you start to lose a bit, and it's bloody hot, I'd like a beer, and the beer's beer and bread, they're the best two things for me, which are two things I love. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what about your management of food and so on the boat?
I'm not real good with that, to be honest. Lots of tin food, you know. I buy fresh food, you know, but that only lasts a week, 2 weeks, you know, and I like cooking my curried sausages. I think everybody knows about that. But I just seem to open up the thing and go, geez, there's nothing to eat.
Hey, Mum, what's to eat?
Yeah, nothing nice to eat, you know. And I've got all these tins of bloody pasta sauce and all sorts of stuff, which I've never bothered even opening. And John Blenkinsop said to me, you just got to get heaps of snacks, you know, just take heaps of snacks. And so I did that last time, and they run out after about a week, sort of thing. And Eric, he just eats dried food. I don't know how he does that, freeze dried food. I can't stand that stuff. It's horrible. no matter what's written on the label, it all tastes the same, you know.
Yep, chopped up cardboard.
Yeah, so you know, I'll get better at that. But yeah, it's
Yep.
it's
So
hard though. It is hard to get stuff that's good for you. Number one, I mean, I've got big tins of mixed veggies and all that sort of stuff, so I eat well. But when it's rough, it's really hard to cook as well. But yeah, so food management could be a bit better. You know?
Yeah. So what's the key to the entertainment? What are you doing there to keep your mind sort of off the?
I've been reading lots of books. Yeah, and I'm not a big reader. I don't read at all really, but I've read 5 books so far, which is like a world record for me. Interesting books, and yeah, so that, and obviously I've downloaded some series on Netflix, Blacklist, and what was the other one? Yellowstone. And try not to watch too much. You sort of get into a bit of a zone, and because it's on, you know, you get there and you watch one. Oh, I've got to watch the next one. Next thing you know, you've watched 4 in a row, sort of thing, you know. So, but just that sort of stuff, you know. And trying to watch the weather and watch the clouds a little bit. And I don't know a lot about that, to be honest. But you try to just look what the clouds are like today and what happens tomorrow, you know. So it's a bit of that stuff.
Yeah. Yep, you're a young fella like me. How old are you?
63.
63.
64 in August, yeah.
So you're not technically retired, you're just taking a holiday?
Yeah, I'll go back to work, you know, for sure. I enjoy what I do, and, you know, I've spent a lot of money on this thing, so all my super's gone now. I've got no intention of retiring. I think if you retire, well, I won't work as much, I don't think, you know, and try and use the little boat when it's back home. And I said to my wife, you know, I said, we've got to go every month we've got to go 1 3-day, you know, weekend on the boat, around Pittwater or the harbour or whatever, and 1 Sunday. But I've got to get her a bit better than seasickness thing first, I think. But yeah, so there'll be that, and still get into work, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yep. So, okay, so physically you look healthy and everything. Did you dip into the first aid kit very much?
I had this thing on my leg here.
Yeah.
It started off as a little, it looked like a ringworm, and then it just started growing and growing and growing. It got about probably 75 mil diameter.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was like a fungus sort of thing, I think, and it was eating all the dead skin, I don't know. But I just got the Dactarin out and put that on. Yeah. And that seemed to look after it. And then it kept sort of coming back a bit, but I've got rid of it now. And I had a bit of stuff on my feet, but yeah, no, that's... Yeah, my first aid kit's pretty much the only thing that come out of it is the Dactarin, basically. Yeah.
And what about your water management? What was your plan
water's
there?
good. Yeah.
How much you carry?
I took 184 litres from Panama. Yeah, about that I think, because I had some of those 4 litre plastic bottles as well, and drums. Yeah, no, I got in with. I mean, I had 2 freshwater showers, I think, and did a bit of washing.
2.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's cool.
Something like that. Yeah, no, I had lots of saltwater ones, you know, but they're not with dishwashing liquid, because that's the only soap I had.
Did you catch much water?
No, I didn't. I didn't bother. I didn't think. I thought I needed to really. Yeah. And I didn't get rained on a lot. I mean, everyone else was getting pounded by rain. They were a fair way ahead of me, especially coming from Panama to the Marquesas. I only had rain really the last 3 days. When the rest of the time was sunshine the whole way pretty well. Yeah, it'll be cloudy, you know. Yeah. So I didn't get a lot of rain. The whole trip I haven't had a lot of rain, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. So, and how do you feel now that you're here this far? What's in your thought process? Because I know you haven't sort of committed to the next half. You know, you want to try and explain, you know, what's going on? No answers, just where you're at. It's an interesting process, because I can see the challenge. It's all.
Fiji's always been a fork in the road. You know, I always knew I was going to get to Fiji and make a decision then, and it's been really tough on my wife. It has, and it's been tough on me, the isolation. I thought I would handle it a lot better than I did, and it's funny because she was always determined that I would probably come home from Fiji, and now she sort of started saying, "If would you go on?" And I'm going, "Hang on, you're trying to get rid of me or what?" And I'm a bit torn at the moment, to be honest. I can't give a definite decision right now. I've told a few people back home what my decision is, but it could change. So I don't know. I can't.
it's a nice place, this one. And
Fiji's great.
Finally catching up to the whole team.
And everyone in the race is sort of, you're with us now. We'll all be good. We're going forward. We'll all be together. And I'm going, well, yeah, maybe sort of thing. I just don't want to. Until I've made a firm decision, I'll just keep it to myself, sort of thing. I know which way I'm leaning. Yeah. And I do miss home a lot, and I miss my wife a lot, and my boys, and everyone really miss a lot. But everyone's going through that as well. I mean, I'm not the only one.
Absolutely.
And Erton said to me, the Starink will make it different, but it's not the same, it's holding your wife, or whatever, so.
Yeah, it's interesting. The best thing that's ever happened is that you're going home for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That'll set the scene. And the biggest challenge, because as you know, I've done lots of different adventures and this and the other, but you're always faced with that decision, if you pull out now, where's the regret? Yeah. Because I got to tell you, you're more than capable, sailor-wise and boat-wise, you're more than capable to carry on.
I feel in myself now I don't have anything to prove to anybody.
That's right, yeah.
I've done, 8,000 miles roughly, I think, something like that. And, if I go home, it'll be nearly 10,000 miles. If I go around the world, it'll be 26,000 miles. I don't think I've got it, even to myself. I haven't got anything to prove to myself. Yeah. I could. I think I could be mid-range competitive. I don't think I'm up with. I don't think I'm up with Renault and all that. I'm not that committed as those guys are. But I think I could be with the fleet. Yeah. Only circumstances put me so far behind. I think, in the other legs. So. Yeah, I'm torn at the moment, to be honest.
That's good. I always look at Ayrton, because as you know, Ayrton joined the 2018 GGR and lasted a week. The family. He then did the 22 GGR and he sailed all the way down to Cape Town. And Cape Town, the boat's good, everything's good, he could keep going. But he said, it's answered all my questions. We're still missing the family. So he retired in Cape Town and then immediately got into the MGR. And I have no doubt he's going around because he's got Starink.
He's definitely committed. And the thing is, with all the other people, like Josh and all that, not so much Eric and Dan, but they're pretty close to home when they get there. I mean, with all the European
they're all going
people,
home.
Yeah, they're just across.
They're sailing home.
Yeah, so they're not that. And the Atlantic, it's not that far across the Atlantic, I suppose. But it is a fair way. It's 3,000 miles. But it's funny saying that now. It's not that far.
I know what you mean.
But and then John and Mike are coming here. So I'm looking forward to them arriving, and Mike's definitely not going on. I don't know about John. I think he's a bit like me. He's a bit torn.
No, it's funny, and I think I can say this because John will probably see it, but he's lost a bit of spark at the moment. You see his videos, he's lost an element, and I'm convinced that he's desperate to keep going, but it's a money thing, and that's understandable as well.
I've got
money's important.
I haven't got very much money at all, and I've been lucky with people, so far, and I've been worried about telling people who have supported me that I mightn't carry on. I'm coming home, and the major guys who sponsored me, I've told them, and they've been amazing. It's the same thing as you got nothing to prove. If you need to come home because of your health or your psychology, whatever. Then I was worried that there might be an issue there, but they've supported me whatever way I go, sort of thing. So that's really good. And friends too, same thing. I've spoken to lots of people about it. In over the last few weeks, sort of thing, when I've chatted to them on the phone and whatnot, or emails, WhatsApp.
The MGR, this is a whole aspect that we don't talk about as much as we do in the GGR and all the big events and this and the other, because this has got stopovers, and I think we're all in awe and amazed at all you guys sailing around the world like this. But there's a lot involved, and there's a lot of pressure in terms of so many different subjects. But at the end of the day, the best part is throwing your hat in the ring to see what it's all about. I think finance is the biggest one. Money's the biggest issue for most people, really. That I've talked to everybody, and everyone's pretty tight for money, I think, sort of thing. And it's a big decision for you guys, because once you get out of here, you've got to ship the boat home. Well, I could say a throwaway line. It's not hard to get to Antigua. You don't need a lot of money there, but when you get there, then you've got the boat over there.
Nowhere in the world would I sail back to Australia again for Antigua.
Oh, why not?
I think I would go
across through Panama.
I'd go south of Galapagos this time, that's for sure. And, Anyway, time will tell.
So what's happened to the boat? Anything broken, damaged? Anything? Nothing at all?
No, nothing's
it's
broken.
Amazing, eh?
No, nothing's broken.
Yeah. Sales
Rig's all good. So I put a hole in the main sail.
Yeah.
Being an idiot. I was shaking the reef out, and I got it, okay. I started winding the winch and going, geez, that's tight, because sometimes it was a bit tight in the track.
Yeah.
And I look up, and I had the sail tie through the sail kringle and around the boom, and it's really tight, and I should have just let the jammer go, but I went up and pulled the sail tie, idiot, and it just put a hole about this big in it, But anyway, I got it fixed in Marco's, it's just a patch in it, so I get it. It did a good job, but other than that, nothing. Everything. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Yeah.
What about the heat? Like, it looked bloody hot on the boat, and you've got water over the boat. You got to button it up, and try and give us a feel for that.
Well, the heat in the doldrums was unbelievable. Like my thermometer in the boat goes to 40 degrees, and it was way past that downstairs. And I'm thinking, okay, I can sit down here in 42, 43 degrees, or I can sit up there in 45 degrees in the sun. What do you do? And you're always tipping buckets of water over yourself, so that was pretty impressive, yeah. But coming into here, I was freezing cold. I had like tracksuit pants, my full wet weather gear, jumpers, and everything on.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was cold.
Yeah, Pila was the first one we saw because it's not that hot, it's not that cold, but because you guys have been so hot for so long, Pila turns up. He's got full wet weather gear and all the rest of it. We were out in t-shirt and shorts. Well, it's cool, but
yeah. Well, coming through past Vavau, and it was coming right across from Tahiti. It wasn't hot at all, really. It was just really pleasant, really. It was nice.
Yeah.
But then, the last 4 or 5 days, 5 or 6 days, it was cold. Yeah. I was surprised how cold it was. But it was all that weather coming up from way down south. Those winds coming from way down south. But it was icy. Yeah. Well, not icy, but a lot colder than I've been in the last 12 months, I suppose. And now we're going back to Sydney, and there's an intense low pressure system. I don't know if we'll get back tonight, honestly, in the plane. Whether they might divert us, I don't know. But there's a big low, east coast low off Sydney, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So what are your mates saying? Because I know you got a truckload of mates, in the industry and friends. And
I've had so much support. It's been unreal. Yeah, everyone's sending me WhatsApps and Messenger, and I think a lot of people are. Well, I'm not impressed, but pretty happy with what I've done and congratulating me, all this sort of stuff, So
just immediately flip it to all the people that were telling you were crazy when they said we're doing. Did you tell them straight away what you're doing when you bought the plans? What were people saying?
Yeah, you're an idiot, You're mad. You're going to die, I said you're a long time dead, And so most people were, let's say, sceptical, I suppose. Because I haven't done it. I've done ocean passages and stuff before, but on bigger boats with other people, never in command sort of thing. And a lot of people sort of were sceptical, and that some people were great. Oh, unreal, it's fantastic. What are you doing? And so I haven't heard from many of the naysayers, to be honest, that said I was an idiot, and only the ones that jokingly said I was an idiot, But and everyone's been really cool. It's been great. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I told you before, but my mate Kyle, who I share the workshop with, he said no one cares about it anymore. They're always asking how's Gary going? Where is he? What's he doing?
That'll be true. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to in Sydney when you get there?
Our bed, our nice bed, and just some nice home cooked meals, because you don't have them. Like in Hever, some Aussie guys invited me onto their boat, and they cooked dinner, and it was the first home cooked meal I'd had since I'd left home. And I cooked a few things, but sausages and that. But that and catching up with friends, and I got a lot to do. I got a lot of stuff to do in Sydney, but mainly being with my family, my sisters and everything, and family coming over on next weekend.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're just about to wrap it up. Anything else you want to get across?
No, just thanks to everybody, who supported me. Even people I don't know, like so many people want to become your friend on Facebook, and you can't friend everybody, So sorry to all those people that I didn't. Just everyone that supported me more than anything, whether it be moral support, financial support, gear support, all that sort of stuff, and it's been great. Yeah.
Well, you've done really well, eh? It was an interesting story because I've said it before in the last one. A few months before the start of the race, there's no way you could have made it. I looked at it. I said to James so often, poor Gary, not going to make it, but you did, and you're here.
I'm a pretty determined person and persistent. My wife will tell you that. And I was, according to her, I was really persistent. But, so, you know, it's, I doubted myself a lot along the way too, you know, and when I rang you and said, look, I'm not going to make Portugal, and I don't think I'm going to make it, and then you gave me the offer of going to Antigua, I thought, right, all guns blazing now, you know, get the boat finished. So
yeah, well, I'm really glad, because in fact I feel for some of the 580 builders that were also trying to get to the start, and just physically they missed out, you know, and then now they've got to look at the Transat, and
or like Alenka, you know, in Australia, in Brisbane, you know, she was trying really hard, and same thing. It all comes down to finances, and then she got a job, you know, and she was just busy, and I've seen where she was building the boat. You know,
under a tarp now.
You know, under a tarp in a swamp, basically.
Absolutely, it's an amazing story. You know, I forget what her Facebook thing is, but anyone following this wants to see an amazing epic. This is a young lady who's never really, I think she said she'd never built an IKEA table before. She's doing it all solo, you know? And the boat's looking good, and she's had floods, and the boat nearly floated away. And in the yard.
It is. It's literally a swamp where she's building it, and there's tea trees everywhere and stuff.
Well, she's a prime example, but there's many out there building their boats. So anyway, we'll see what happens in 29.
Yeah, there's lots of guys at the start that I thought were going to do the MGR, and they just sort of they didn't hear from them again, I suppose, and but you said there's a few more in Australia building at the moment.
There's a heap there. I've lost track. I think there must be 15 boats building in Australia or something.
And you become friends with people. It's nice, you know. Like we went up to Brisbane to because all our masts come in together to Brisbane. So I met Robert Millard. So I picked him up at the airport, you know, and then we met Alenka and John and Mike, and then we went up to Noosa and saw their boats, and it was a nice day sort of thing, you know. So, and you come, and all these people in the race, it's nice. You become friends with these people, and you've all got a similar outlook on life, I suppose. And even though you're totally different people, but you've all got this.
You're right there. Everyone's in it for similar but different reasons. And the whole builders group, and the building internationally, like the global network of builders, is quite phenomenal. So and it's encouraging, because there's a very low dropout rate. Very low rate of someone who buys a set of plans, starts building their boat, and then decides that it's not for them. It's hugely low. Usually it's massive, but it's fun. Anyway, that's another story. We digress. Anyway, congratulations, Gary.
All right,
good
thanks,
job.
mate.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
We'll, because either way, you're coming back because your boat's here, so we're going to see you. Whatever happens.
I'm going to be here till, if I kick off again till the 26th, if I don't kick off again, whenever Mike's ready to sail back to Australia, and depends on maybe John, if John's going to do the same thing. We'll go together.
Should Gary continue on to Antigua? Yes, he said yes. You're going to be in trouble if you don't. All right. Thanks, mate. We'll look forward to your decision. See you later.
Okay, good on you. Thanks, Don. Thank you.